All right, should we begin?
Shall we do it?
All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Larry Peterson with the Port of Kennewick Planning and Development Director. Thank you for being with us as we walk through some of the tools that we're using to capture your input for the Kennewick Waterfront, historic Kennewick Waterfront master planning effort that the Port is undertaking for the Port's properties on Columbia Drive and Clover Island. With us today is our firm that's helping us, Makers Architecture. I'll let those ladies introduce themselves, but the intent is to walk through these tools that we're using to capture input online. Because of COVID, we can't meet like we normally do in these processes, so we're using as many online tools as possible to gather your input. At this stage, we're after ideas. Later, we'll have to blend those ideas together and see what conflicts and if there's anything mutually exclusive. But right now, very little is off the table. So we seek your input, and we'll have them walk you through the process. So there's an idea wall, there's a way to add your comments from a mapping tool, and then a more traditional survey method. So with that, I turn the microphone over to the Makers team.
Thank you, Larry. Good afternoon now, everyone. As of 3 minutes ago, my name is Erica. I'm one of the planners and landscape designers on this project. I'm very excited to be a part of this team. This is an incredible opportunity that you all have to really make a significant and positive change for this district. Alongside me is Beth, who is also on the Makers team. You guys should see her up at the front. And we are sort of tag teaming this along with Julie, who is unable to be with us today. But the three of us are the Makers team that will be helping you all through this process. So I just wanted to let you guys know that we're going to go through a very, very brief presentation, because the focus of today, as Larry mentioned, is to really walk through the tools that we have available online for you to give your thoughts on this project. So very briefly, we are going to give you a quick update on the Clover Island master plan that happened previously, and how this new effort kind of ties into that longer term strategy. We're also going to be looking at overall for the project that the focus will be to identify future uses of the port-owned property and to respond to the area's evolving context. So as you all know, this area and Kennewick at large has seen a ton of change, a ton of growth over the last few years. And we want to make sure that with this really wonderful waterfront area, we're able to capitalize on that energy and to create a space that is most supportive of that moving forward. We also want to talk through how we can best position the district to meet the port and the community's greater goals across the city. So again, today we're going to review the historic waterfront district changes and initial findings. We have started to have some conversations with some key participants in the immediate area, from business owners to community groups, and to kind of give us a greater understanding of where the district is today, what the current challenges are. And we have presented those, and we want to make sure that we hear from you whether you agree with those initial thoughts. And as I said, then I'll be handing it over to Beth, and Beth will be walking through all these great activities where we'll be getting your thoughts. So as I mentioned, the real focus of this project is to come up with the extended view of what the port-owned properties along this district should be used for. Those properties are outlined in red on this slide, which hopefully you are all looking at. Obviously, the majority of Clover Island is port-owned property, except for the small parcel, which is the U.S. Coast Guard. Then we have what we call the Willows, which is this large parcel that is on Clover Island Drive and Columbia Drive. Then in the center, there's Columbia Gardens, which is where you may all have visited the new wine tastings that have been really popular, and it's very exciting new development here. And then we have what's called the Cable Greens, which is the one farthest to the east and next to State Route 397, which is adjacent to Duffy's Pond. We will always want to recognize that no project, including this one, is happening without other events and without a ton of other efforts that brought you all to where the island now is. So way back in 2003, there was the Bridge to Bridge, River to Railroad plan that really set the stage for the larger context of this area. Then it moved into the Clover Island Master Plan, which is where Makers was first involved in this work, which identified a lot of the efforts that then seemingly went into play over the next few years. So you had the Clover Island shoreline improvements, the Columbia Drive revitalization plan, the project, the Willows pattern language, and then some efforts at Duffy's Pond and the environmental assessments of Clover Island. And then most recently, a traffic calming study along Columbia Drive.
Traffic calming study.
And just so everyone knows, I am going to stop at the end of the presentation if you have questions. I want to just make sure that there's plenty of time to get through everything and to give you all a chance to try out these tools. But if you do have questions, please jot them down, or there is a way to raise your hand within the chat section of the video call. So if anything arises, please feel free to stop me and let me know, and I'll take those. So again, back to the island. Obviously, there's already some wonderful arts and recreational opportunities, everything from sculptures and public art to the Secretariat Heritage Trail, and then some really lovely improvements of the shoreline ecology, that you see on that upper right corner. That's happened on the western edge of the thoroughfare onto the island. And that improvement will actually be extending along the northern rim of the island in the coming years, which is fantastic. So there's also obviously been some wonderful development in this area. There's new mixed use buildings that include, the Columbia Gardens as mentioned, Ice Harbor, and spaces for food trucks and a new farm stand that's coming online. And speaking to a number of the tenants here, they've really absolutely loved being a part of this island and are so excited for how future efforts can be integrated into the ones that have already been so successful. So as I said, we've talked to a number of local participants thus far, and the area impressions that we've heard, and of course we want to hear from you all as to if you support these thoughts, but that the summer concert series at the Clover Island Inn has been very popular and very successful. People really enjoy it. The island gets a lot of boat traffic, and that parking is limited on the island during peak use times, so we need to be cognizant of that. That the lighthouse is very popular and a main attraction. People love coming here. They love taking photos at this location. And it's really become a bit of an icon for the immediate area. That the new wine village and food trucks are really popular and attract the sort of kind of energy that people would like to see for this area moving forward. But all of that, taking all of that into account, there are still some concerns about safety in the area, and especially at night, that the sort of general vibe of the district really changes when things shut down in the evening, and that people would like to do things that will make them feel safer in the evening hours. And lastly, that the type of variety of local and unique businesses is wonderful, and that the community at large really does want to make sure that that continues moving forward, that what is supported and engaged in this area is representative of the local culture, local cuisine, local people, that this should really be a space that celebrates that. Those suggestions we've heard thus far include that people would like to see the completion of the trails and improved walkability of the island and the surrounding area, that they'd like to see more family-friendly features such as a playground or water features, that eateries should continue to evolve and support those that are existing in the area, and particularly sort of easy, quick bites or coffee shops where people could kind of have a grab and go option. And then to continue to support local culture and local retail. So temporary art shows or galleries, retail shops in and around the wine village and in Clover Island. And then what we've heard most strongly from the local government agencies, and what I know many of you all have been working on, is to create a stronger connection to and from downtown Kennewick, so that the two districts can really benefit and strengthen each other. Sorry. So just to kind of close out the little presentation here, we just want to let you guys know what the timeline of this project looked like so that you can be engaged throughout. Right now, we're clearly in the phase 1 or assessment part, where we're a sponge at this point. We are having group discussions and interviews. We're having this open house and had one last week. And then we'll be pulling all of this information and developing alternatives. So those alternatives are basically assessments of how all of these ideas might look or might feel and might be positioned throughout the district. And we'll be bringing those back out to you in the fall to get your thoughts. And then from sort of those thoughts and integrating those changes into sort of a preferred alternative, that will move forward into phase 3, which will be the final plan coming forth in early spring of 2021. And so that is it for our presentation, keeping it quick. If there, again, are any questions or comments or concerns with the usage, both of the materials that will be online, or if things just come up throughout your days, your weeks, if you want to reach out to us, feel free. My contact is here. Again, I'm Erica, and Beth is our sort of technical wizard and is going to be helping to field any technical questions that you have. So if at any time you feel challenged by what's going on, reach out to us. We're happy to help. And then with that, I'm going to hand it over to Beth to walk you through some of these great opportunities to engage.
All right, just going to switch over real quick here. Is there any questions while I'm switching screens about anything that Erica just talked about? Nothing? All right. Real fast here. Sorry about that for the moment. Okay. So I am just gonna walk you through the Port project website, as well as some of the tools that we are showing today. So if there's anybody that's not muted right now, it's just probably a good idea to mute that just until we have a time for open questions. So just a thought for the conference call action. So right now, what we're looking at is the project main page. It's what you all found, the Zoom join-in meeting information. So you all have seen this. Just wanted to quickly orient you to the Port's webpage. If you are interested in any of the projects or the areas that Erica was discussing, or things like that, a good spot to go is this project page here, which has a lot of information on the properties that are surrounding Clover Island, as well as Clover Island. So you can find out information on the recent development at Columbia Gardens and the Willows, where that's at, as well as Cable Greens. So that's a good resource if you have any further questions on the projects that they have been working on thus far. But taking you back to the main project webpage, if you scroll down to this share your ideas area, you have the opportunity to take the survey right here. So you can go ahead and click on that and scroll right through, making sure to fill out the survey on here. You also have the opportunity to get into the survey within these other two places here. So I'm just going to open up the interactive map, which is right here. So when you go into the interactive map, there's just a quick little box that pops up that is kind of an orientation for this activity. The idea with this activity is to really get your feedback on this area with kind of this spatial map type of situation. So if you have any questions about the instructions, you can always go to the About tab over here, and that walks you through everything that I'm going to be talking about right now. But let me just walk through the comments that you can add. So what we're looking for is basic feedback on quite a few areas here. So we're looking for your suggestions on if you have any thoughts on any amenities that should be added. Are there any places that you like to use in this area for recreation or nature, things like bird watching? Are there spots that are really easy access points or maybe difficult? Maybe it's hard to get your bike into this area and you want to just make a note of that. And then of course, if there are any additional ideas or concerns that you want to note. So just to show you how that works, you would go ahead and click on one of those icons, and then you can move the map around and place the marker where it works for you. So I know, because I was recently there, that this is actually, Duffy's Pond is a great spot for bird watching. So I'm gonna place my marker there and just comment that this is a great spot for bird watching. And then you would just enter in your email address and all the other information. And you also have the option to add a photo if you want. And then you just add the comment. And that is just a reference number if you needed to ask any questions. So then you can see my comment is already there. And the great part is that you can look at everybody else's comments and you can like them or dislike them. And you can also join in the discussion. So let's see some other comments. Looks like 6 people have liked this suggestion to add a water feature at the Willows. So you can like that or dislike. You can also see if there's any other discussion. You can join in, say, you know what, I don't really think a water feature would go really well there. You know, just interact with everybody else, interact with the comments. It's whatever you are interested in doing. Also to point out, like this icon over here, there are information markers throughout this whole map. And that's just to kind of give a basic overview of certain spots in this map, especially if you have not been down here recently. So for instance, this information marker right here, which is having some difficulties. Well, we'll go to a different one. How about this one? This information marker, it has a great picture just to kind of give you an orientation of what it looks like to be on Clover Island Drive as you enter into Clover Island. And there's some other, this is an old aerial that we are kind of forced to use at the moment. So we have some pictures of what this area looks like now, since Columbia Gardens has had a lot of built out area thus far. So this is like, for instance, the food truck area that's new. So feel free to go ahead and walk through, click on anybody's markers that they have already put on here, and just interact, add your own. And a couple more things to orient you to the map here. There's a list over here on the right in the legend that shows you what you're looking at. We have the port-owned properties that have all different colors. There's also noted the trails for the walking trails. And then you can, at any time, you can toggle off a layer if you would like to. If you just, it's too busy, you don't want to see the bike and pedestrian paths, you can just toggle that on and off on the right as well. And it works the same as you can zoom in and zoom out. So you can get really close to an area and put a marker there if you'd like, and then zoom out again as well. So just wanted to pause right here and see if anybody has any questions about this map exercise. All right, if you think of any, we can definitely come back to this, so no worries. While you're in this map exercise page, this is a great spot to be able to take the survey. So you can just go over here to the sidebar and click in here and fill it out here. It's the same mechanism. And then there's a third activity that we want you guys to participate in. So you can get to it. It's this ideas wall. You can get to it over here on the sidebar, or jumping back to the original port project page, you can also get to it on that main page. And so this is what the ideas wall looks like. So imagine, you're in, like, back when we could all meet together and you're in a conference room and you're putting a bunch of, I don't know, sticky notes with a lot of different thoughts to a page so that you kind of brainstorm a bunch of different things. That is what this ideas wall is like. This is a spot for you to just kind of get your comments down, and it's not spatially tied. So this is kind of the way to gather as many other thoughts as needed without using the map. We do have a few instructions just to kind of focus this. We're looking for if you have one word to describe this area. That is just like, for instance, you can actually toggle over here, filter one of the, so that you can see all the different kinds. And if you look at all the one words, you can see that people have a lot of different words going so far, but you can definitely add your own. So I think that this area, it's still developing. So I'm going to put developing. Just add your one word and all your information, and then you just share it. And so then you can see my comment is right over there. Let me just click on all the others and just filter that off. And then going back to the instructions, we're also looking to see if there is one thing that you would like to have accomplished that would be really important for this project to accomplish. So we want to know what that is, that one thing is. And then also just to figure out if there's any other, anything else that you would like to add as far as comments are concerned. So you come in here and you just click on whichever comment type you would like to portray. And then you just go ahead and fill out the comment form exactly like the map. And then this is also similar to the mapping activity where you can view the discussion, you can like or dislike. Some of these actually have quite a few comments already. So it's just a way for you to get involved with other comments, read through things and see what other people are talking about. Is there any questions?
I was just gonna say, I also added in the chat within the Zoom, which is at the very bottom of your screen. If anyone has any questions that come to mind while Beth is speaking, feel free to type those in, and we will get to those. And then also on the right-hand side, again, there's that little, you'll see a little hand, looks like this, that you can raise your hand if there's anything that comes up and you'd like to speak about.
And for all of these tools, there's a way for this to be translated. So if you go up to the right side, each page has a way to translate the page. So if you or anybody that you know would like this to be translated, this information, that's definitely also within the capabilities. So we're just looking for all your feedback on all these different activities. And oh, there's a comment here. Connectivity to the downtown area. Can you provide some more details with how you intend to improve the connection? That's a good question. We are actually looking to see if that is a concern. We have heard that it is a concern, but perhaps you all can put a comment on here with a suggestion about what that, how you feel that it could be improved. That's what these activities are here for. I also see a comment about having seniors being involved in this. Larry, did you want to chime in and about how seniors are getting involved in this?
Sure, a couple items. First, I'll grab the other comment. As far as the connection to downtown, we're working with the city of Kennewick. They've had a concept that they're trying to forward, make improvements to Washington Street to tie in Columbia Drive and Clover Island to the downtown area. So some of this isn't reinventing that wheel, but we're through this process, we're asking, is that important to the citizens? Because that would help give some momentum to the city and give some support for the council to possibly fund some of those improvements working with the port. As far as seniors' involvement, this is an online tool we're utilizing. We've done the old school telephone calls and people giving us suggestions. You ought to call this person. Again, we haven't met in person, but we've done telephone calls with 40 to 50 different individuals representing organizations, entities, individual concerns. And when we get a name or number, we've made contact with those folks using the old school method of the old telephone. So we're trying to utilize different tools, not just the standards of what we had done pre-COVID. So there's always an intent to capture everybody. Unfortunately, someone might be missed, but we're looking for names, phone numbers, and we can even send them people a letter if that's where we need to go.
And the hope is that by having recordings of these sessions, this has been recorded, and our session last week on Monday was recorded. Our hope is that by having the recordings available, you or any other of your friends or seniors can watch the recording whenever you want, late at night at 10 o'clock when some of us are in bed, and learn from the recording all about all these tools and how you can interact with them.
But like Larry said, if there are particular senior organizations, senior service areas, any particular group that you would like us or feel would be helpful for us to share this information with in a targeted manner, we are happy to hear that from you all. We're definitely, as we are remote, looking to the community to be a conduit of this information. So feel free to reach out and please do share those contacts with us.
And I see that there's a suggestion about traffic or a comment that, and the comments about Columbia Street. This would be a great time for you to go back into both of these activities, whether it's the ideas wall or this mapping exercise. And this would be the spot to put comments like that, because this is where we're going to be capturing all the comments at the end of this open house, which is on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Columbia is definitely, obviously the experience of being on Columbia Drive is critical to how the district functions. And so that is going to be something that we will be looking at and working with a transportation planner on defining how it could be improved to better meet the needs of pedestrians and non-motorized traffic, in addition to motorized traffic meeting the needs of the businesses here. So we do want to hear from you on Columbia Drive, how it functions, how it doesn't, and we'll very much be putting forward recommendations on how to make it more of a complete street.
If there's any questions, I'm not sure if there's a way to unmute everybody, but feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions right now if you didn't want to put them in the chat.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, I would say that if you have even thoughts about concerns in adjacent spaces or across Columbia Drive, that it's really helpful for the port moving forward just to really know about the district in general. If there are other projects that you think would be relevant to this discussion, feel free to mark those as well on these maps or within the ideas walls. As said, you know, any and all information is fantastic, even if it has to do more with wanting to see more transportation to Pasco or things that obviously we can't control within the confines of this project, but that will help the port think big picture moving forward about how to support those greater efforts.
So 2 areas of concern, I guess one is the trailer park. I see some commentary there. Is there any developments happening with regards to the trailer park that's most adjacent to the wine village?
At this time, there are no developments happening, but if you have concerns about the trailer park, definitely add them to either this map or to the ideas wall.
Okay. And then what about the bike trail on the other side of the wine village where it's incomplete, to the right of your...
This trail here?
In the gap.
There's a section in there that's not completed, and I believe the owner of the gym there is probably part of that discussion. Has there been any discussions or anything along those lines of development?
Yes, there absolutely has. And I'll let Larry answer that because I know he's been involved in those discussions much longer than we have. But that is an obvious challenge, is that connection really does need to happen. And there are ongoing conversations with that business owner about how that can move forward so that it meets the public's needs and is respectful of business there.
Right.
I'll be candid. I can't say that there are ongoing negotiations. We've spoke with that property owner, the port has, for the last 3 or 4 years on and off, and he's just not interested. He has various concerns about safety if there's more people coming in the back of his property. And I don't know that either the port or the city are willing to go in and condemn someone's property. But it would be helpful if that is a concern that the community has, if they hear that that is more than just 1 or 2 individuals, if that is a common thread, that may that helps that issue rise to the top that needs to be addressed and dealt with. We've tried to solve it with the checkbook. There are many citizens that point out that connection being needed and being crucial. That may motivate the Port Commission and or the city to talk with the property. It also may help to talk with the property owner. Hey, there are 30 people in the community that think that connection's important. Are you a community player? And maybe help bring him into the conversation. So it's squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Well, thanks for that.
Sure. All right, any last questions? All right, I'm just gonna put back on here. Just some final thoughts. Feel free at any time to, you know, ask Erica or I any questions about this open house, any of the tools. You're more than welcome to email us. And as of course, we would love it if you could give us your feedback, not only on these activities, but if you could be involved with sharing to your friends and family. We're looking for as much feedback as possible. And we want to make sure that this reaches as many people as we can. So please feel free to share the project website so that everybody else can get involved.
And obviously there's possibly questions that we can't answer, but we will make sure that we find the people who can. So send them our way and we'll distribute. And then Larry's hand is waving over here to speak.
Well, one last thing for everybody on the group here. If the tools don't work, if you want to add your input via the tools, if you want to add your input, we want to capture that. And whether that is an email to myself at lpeterson@portofkennewick.org, whether that's a phone call to our main desk. There's only a few people here at the port, so if you say you're calling about the Waterfront district, they'll get that to us. We'll get your comment. We can do it via telephone, letter. We're really looking for the input. If this tool is just a little too cumbersome for those for you or those that you know, where we want as much input as possible. We're just trying to bring additional tools to the table during this time. So this isn't intended to be an exclusionary way to capture input, but an additional way. And we'll still do the old school with a phone call. I just can't quite do a handshake at this time. I do thank you for hanging with us while we walk through, and please drive as many people as you can to give us this comments, because it's important to plan with the community and not for the community.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for coming out today, and we'll see you on the activities.
Thanks all.